today's lesson is going to be on a really fun Irish reel. This is called Tam Lin, or the Glasgow Reel. It was written by Davey Arthur. So this is kind of a dark, moody, maybe a little angsty sounding tune in D minor. Actually, it starts at D minor and then oftentimes we'll modulate after we've played it in D minor to A minor. I'll talk more about that a little bit later, but it's an easy switch. All you have to do is move your fingers up one string, so same fingerings, just one string higher. So we'll talk more about that later, but I want to go through the melody and the chords, and then also talk about some ornaments that we can use. One with our bow, and one with our left hand. Just some fun extra stuff to throw in there. So we'll talk about that bow treble thing, and we'll talk about a roll. But before we get to that, let's learn the basic melody. So D minor, the A section is D minor, B flat, C, D minor, and then that chord progression repeats that's one bar for each chord. So here's the melody, and I like to start on an up bow and slide into it. So you notice I actually slurred into every downbeat. So my bow always was on an up bow for the downbeats, which is fun to do in this tune. You don't have to, but I think it's a good idea. The other thing is these string crossings. So I would practice just going back and forth, using as little bow this way as possible to get good at those. And then the other weird thing is sometimes you get to play a fifth. So the B flat one isn't as bad, but that C one, so you'll see my elbow going back and forth to reach. That's what works for me. So that's the A part. The B part melody is like this. Something like that. Now that one is D minor for 2 bars, C for 2 bars, D minor for 2 bars, B flat for 1 bar, quick C, and then D minor. That's the last bar. So half a bar of C and then D minor ends. So now I'm going to talk about those ornaments that I was mentioning. Really fun one to use with our bow. This is called a treble. In Irish fiddling, I think in Scottish fiddling it's called a burl. It probably has many other names as well, but and it's sometimes referred to as a triplet, but it's technically not a triplet. It's actually 2/16 tied to an eighth, like the last note is longer. So like the 2 quick notes and then 1 slightly longer note. In context, that would sound something like this. And basically what I'm doing is, if you want to, well, first, upper half tip is probably best. Down bow is easiest. I think it's useful to learn up bow as well. Just in case you happen to be on that bow and you want to use one. I don't know, but down bow probably to start, and practice on an open string. And then if you want to get it to sound more percussive or have less pitch, you can press down more with your index finger and use way less bow, so as little bow as possible, So it's like, gets that sound. So that's a really fun one to throw in. Open strings are a good place to use them. Longer notes. There are other places, like you could use them in the first half. Other places, but that works too. So just kind of have fun with it. The next one I wanted to talk about is called a roll, and that's with our left hand. So if our note is, we're going to go above and below the note really fast. So above and below and then back to it. And then once you do it, I like to swell with my bow speed as well. And you do want to hear that first note. Sometimes I feel like people go, but I like to hear it. So this works for longer notes for sure. So right there I was doing it over the B flat at the end. So so that's a place you could use a roll. Let's see, you could also go. Or I like that one there better. Sometimes it's hard to do really fast, so longer notes are better, and there aren't a lot of longer notes in this tune. So over that D minor chord in the A part, so that one I'm doing slightly different. So there are lots of versions and different kinds of rolls. So also I would experiment with those. Yeah, so you can't see my bow, but I have to get back further. Try to get that sound. So that's the basics. Now I'm going to talk about how you would change it to A minor. So after you have played it in D minor a couple times, you want to signal that you're going to go to the next key, which is A minor. So if this is our melody in D, so we're going to go a fifth up from D minor to A minor. All you have to do, and since our strings are tuned in fifths, is fingers up one string. So same exact fingers that you were playing before, just up one string. So instead of, we're going to start, and everything the same. And then for the second half, same thing. So that's how you would play it in A minor instead, which I think is a really fun addition. So I do like to stay pretty close to the melody when I'm playing Irish tunes, but that doesn't mean that we can't be creative with our ornaments, or trying different maybe harmony sounding notes, or lots of stuff. So have fun with it, practice these techniques, and if you have questions, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.